Hi, I'm Patrick Stegall. I'm a DUI lawyer, and today I'm going to talk about field sobriety tests. Field sobriety tests are commonly used in a DUI arrest. They are a series of balance and divided attention skills that the police officer makes you go through if you've been suspected of driving under the influence. There are some misconceptions about these. There's a fair amount of what I would call junk science surrounding them. So I'm going to talk about them a little bit and how they can be challenged and how they might affect your case. There are numerous types of field sobriety tests, and the official title for these is standardized field sobriety tests. That's very important. These are standardized tests that have been developed by the federal government, by the National Highway and Traffic Safety Administration, and they are used all across the country in all states and all police departments. And they're supposed to be standardized, okay? That means they are done the same way each time. They are taught. The police officers are taught. This is how you do it. And that standardization needs to be looked into in each DUI case where field sobriety tests are given. So that's very important, because if your police officer did not instruct you and demonstrate to you in the standardized manner how these tests are to be performed, that could be something that you could use to your advantage in your case. That could be something that could create some doubt as to whether you really were under the influence. Because think about it this way: if you weren't instructed properly, how can you do the tests the right way? Okay? So you need to look at the instructions. Hopefully there will be video. It's always helpful when there's video, dash camera of the police cruiser. Most departments do that, but not all do. So it's very helpful when you can watch a video, so you have both the audio and the visual part, where you're watching you and the officer, you're listening to the officer give the instructions. A good DUI lawyer will break that down and look at it carefully and see if that standardization was followed, or if it was broken somewhere. If the instructions weren't given properly or demonstrated properly. That's something that's very important to look at in any field sobriety test DUI case. Field sobriety tests, understand that they are not meant to be passed, okay? Like, you think, I'm going to either pass them or I'm going to fail them. Everybody fails them, all right? They're meant to be failed. They're meant to collect evidence against you. So if you have, at the time you're asked to perform field sobriety tests, they've already decided you're under the influence. We're just going to try and get some more evidence against you, and we're going to have you do these tests and say that you failed them, because the clues that they look for can be, frankly, meaningless when it comes to whether that means you were under the influence a lot. Like I said earlier, these are balancing tests, coordination, and divided attention. They want to see if you can both listen and listen to and process the instructions, and then actually perform the test. So they're looking at how well you can act when your attention is divided that way. But there are plenty of other divided attention skills which you might be doing right there on the video or right there in front of the officer that you do fine. Like getting your license out of your wallet, or getting your insurance card out of the glove box, or even taking off your seat belt and opening the door and stepping out of the car. These are all tasks which you might be performing fine. But then they have you do these field sobriety tests, and they say you failed and that you're under the influence. So there's a lot to look into in these videos when there are field sobriety tests. But understand that they're supposed to be standardized, but in reality there's very little correlation between how you do on these tests and whether you are under the influence. There are studies out there that show even perfectly sober people don't do well on these tests. There can be other factors like a person's age, their weight, what kind of shoes they were wearing, what kind of surface of the ground where they performed those tests. All these things have to be looked at. So if you've been charged with a DUI and they told you that you fail your field sobriety tests, first of all, like I said, remember, everybody fails these. So that doesn't mean you were under the influence. They're going to tell you that anyway. But if that's a situation that you're facing, call me. And let's look at that video. Let's look at how those tests were administered and how they were demonstrated, and see what we can find. My name is Patrick Stegall, and thank you for watching.